India will surpass China as the world's most populous country by the summer. This is according to new data released by the United Nations. The State of World Population Report predicts India will reach more than 1.4 billion people this year, far outpacing number 2 China and distant third the United States. I sat down with a former U.S. congressman to discuss the state of India and why America is paying attention. India's population is booming, now expected to have the most people in the world by mid-2023. Coming in second is China, with nearly 3 million fewer folks. And rounding out the top 3, the United States, with a mere 340 million people. China and India have long been the two countries with the largest populations, but China's numbers fell for the first time in more than 60 years. While the explosion of numbers is not meant to cause alarm, according to the experts, how these people are being treated is gaining traction around the world. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has pointed out human rights abuses in back-to-back yearly reports. Information that isn't new or even surprising to former member of Congress Trent Franks.
I'm glad that Mr. Blinken has recognized some of the overt abuses of human rights in India. They are very significant, and the Indian governments of the past have very surreptitiously, but in very real terms, have continued to promote circumstances where the caste system remains entrenched in the society there. The Dalits, the untouchables, still have to face that terrible situation there in India. And that should be something that both Indians and Americans and people of the world should reject and say, we're all equal in God's sight, and that's what makes us human beings.
The government of India, under the leadership of Narendra Modi, has been accused of extrajudicial killings, also torture, and inhumane punishment by police. Other allegations include illegal arrests, taking political prisoners, restrictions on freedom for the media, and prosecution of journalists. For the past 5 years, India has topped the global list of regions that cut off internet to their citizens. Critics say shutdowns paralyze daily life and the economy. Some have dubbed India the, quote, internet shutdown capital of the world.
Unfortunately, whether in this country they say follow the science, we say, well, we're willing to follow the science, but show us the science, show us the truth. And sometimes in the India media, they have a narrative that ignores the absolute facts of history, and they put that out, and it's more of a religious propaganda rather than honest news.
Modi's administration is also accused of using the legal system to suppress challengers like the one seen here, Rahul Gandhi. He squared off against Modi in the last general election, but has now been given a jail sentence for referring to suspected criminals as having the same surname as Prime Minister Modi. The decision is being appealed, but any jail time would put him out of the race against Modi next year. India's parliament adjourned after protests by lawmakers when Gandhi was expelled from the House. Members of Gandhi's Congress Party wore black shirts and scarves. Some threw paper at the speaker. Critics say Gandhi was stripped of his parliamentary seat by a government weaponizing its legal system.
Well, I think the Modi government is an example of how they have used the mechanisms of government and weaponize them to go after their opponents. It's not a debate, it's a kind of a hidden war, and they use the institutions of government, whether it's the legal institutions or political institutions of government, or those things that shouldn't be political, to go after their opponents, and that's a very dangerous thing.
In an unprecedented move last year, the U.S. shared intelligence with India about China's army positioning itself along border territories, which enraged Beijing. The two Asian powers clashed in India's northeastern territory of the Himalayan border after taking China's army off guard, which resulted in a rare Chinese retreat. Experts say this has now forced the Chinese Communist Party to reconsider its approach to land grabs along its borders.
I think India could be a natural ally of the United States, as opposed to some country like China. And I think it's very important that we make those alliances quickly and securely, because China is an overt opponent of India, and India should be someone that we embrace as much as we can.
Now, inside India's borders have proven to be more dangerous than its perimeter, most notably the deadly riots and roundups that have been happening for decades. Coming up in the next special report on America and India, we're going to take a look at those riots, what's behind the violence, and if world leaders need to take action. For more in-depth stories, tune in to SatlujTV.com. Thank you for watching. I'm Ginger Jeffries. Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Break the cycle. Be informed. Satluj Network. Let the truth flow.